Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. John here at Havoc Maker Studio. And right now, we're going to do a little bit more of an analysis of Heimdall and Skurge. Now that I've had a few days to digest what these two characters are going to be able to do for Marvel Crisis Protocol and where they may or may not fit. As usual, when we see these cards at first, we're like, "Oh my god, they're absolutely awesome! They're going to be so amazing!" And then once the hype kind of cools down and we have a chance to really look at the characters, they might not be as great as previously talked about or hyped and seen. So we're going to do a little bit more of a dig in, a little bit more in-depth digging on those characters. So let's just get it right into that right now. Okay. So first up, we're going to go ahead and cover Heimdall. I want to be able to give a good as much as I can. Please keep in mind that this is my opinion based on what I've seen from this, talked about with a few other people, where we see that he has a possibly a good fit. If you think otherwise, maybe you have some other suggestions, put it down below in the comments. I would really super appreciate it. So Heimdall is overall going to be good. I really think he is going to be one of the better of the Asgardian characters out there. We actually will see him probably more in cross affiliations, more than we might see him in Asgard, but we'll get to that in a moment. So we've already covered his card. I want to revisit, though, Horfund, and I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. I have literally listened about a dozen and a half times this morning, the old Norse way of saying it, then the Norwegian way of saying it, and I'm not even going to try to do it. I apologize for mispronouncing it. But this is his spender power, and I mean it's pretty standard with the range, the amount of dice you're doing, 7 dice, and the power cost. This is roughly the generic standard template, if you will, for your spender power or your spender attack. What's really interesting with this, though, and we talked about this briefly, is if you deal damage, and you only have to do 1 point of damage, guys. After it's resolved, you can push the target away a staggering range of medium or M. So what's significant here is that there is no size restriction. So this means you can push around characters like, oh, I don't know, Wolverine. You know, he's got the adamantine skeleton, makes it hard to push him around. It's you've got characters like the Hulk, but more importantly, for those people that bring Dormammu to the tabletop, you're going to be able to push Dormammu. Not just usually these pushes are like a short range or the S range. No, you'll be able to push Dormammu M, medium range, and that it gets some much needed distance, especially if you need to kick him off of an objective or whatever it is that you need him. Maybe push him to get him in range of a follow-up attack from another character who will activate the next turn. There's a lot of cool combos that you can pull off with that. I'm not going to say infinite, but there's a lot that that you could do with this, and you guys are probably already thinking. Now, I'm not saying to base your entire game around Heimdall's Horfund ability, but it's just something that to keep into more of a on the spot tactical or a strategic decision making versus building up. Hey, this is what we're going to do. My whole battle plan is around this ability. But that's really cool that you'll be able to push anybody around, provided that they don't have some ability that says, hey, I can't be pushed. But there's not a lot of those characters. So that's still a very cool ability that we have. And if in the future, which I think we're going to see a lot more big characters, Malekith already looks like he's going to be at least a size 4, if not a size 5 character because of his little kitty cat that he's riding. We're going to be getting some more larger characters. I wouldn't be surprised if the Sentinels drop within the next year. We could be seeing things like Galactus in the future. I doubt it, but you never know. But I could definitely see a Sentinel, which would be absolutely massive. If they don't do a Sentinel, I'll be really, really surprised. Unless they make a Sentinel, I could see them possibly doing a Sentinel as a terrain piece, but that's neither here nor there. So this is going to be a good ability that has still a lot of great purpose now. But as we get to the other characters that can go giant size, like Ant-Man, maybe we'll get a Goliath character or Atlas or whatever he was using in his time with the Thunderbolts. I forget. He might have actually just been going by Atlas. Regardless, oh no, it was, yeah, Goliath and then Atlas. Whatever. The giant growth people are going to be able to get pushed around. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, his attacks overall, Heimdall's attacks are not like super impressive. They're nothing to write home about, but they are nice to have around. Now, what's really going to make him stand out is basically his support ability. So, the Guardian of the Bifrost is going to be a cool power. It's a little costly, but we're going to get into that. It's basically a very costly time stone. If you want some cheaper movement abilities, similar, then look at taking Lockjaw. But I would say overall, especially if you're wanting to run just a full-on Asgardian team affiliation, then yeah, you're going to want to stick to Heimdall. Forget about Lockjaw. But there's some other things that make Heimdall a little better than just taking Lockjaw, not in regards to Bifrost ability to teleport around the board, but he has some other abilities we'll get into, and I'll explain. But this ability right here, this is really actually pretty gosh darn good. It is costly, and that is the biggest downside of this. But we got some ways around this. We'll get to this. We'll get to that at the end of talking about Heimdall. But that ability to reach out and touch somebody within range 4, and then move that character range 2 of their current position, that is very huge, especially if you need to get some slow moving characters like say Juggernaut into position, maybe move him up a little bit closer so he can actually get into an attack range, or maybe those last minute desperations to move somebody over to claim an objective, to pick up a fallen token, that sort of thing. The Guardian of the Bifrost is going to be really good. Mitigating that power cost is going to be key. Now, the all-seeing eye is, this is where he's kind of has a dual role, or he's like another character. The first part of this, when an allied character within range 3 is attacking, defending, or dodging, you can reroll up to 2 dice for an allied character. It's kind of like Shuri, but it kind of, I'm going to say more costly Shuri. He's basically a poor man's Shuri and a poor man's Lockjaw, right? Or more expensive Time Stone, depending on how you look at that. But he's basically, with one character, you're getting 2 really important, cool support features that you would have to take 2 other characters for, all for the cost of 3 threat. So you're kind of getting Shuri and Lockjaw all wrapped up into one character. Still costing you power, but you're getting the benefit, a lessened to watered down benefit of those 2 characters without having to take them. I hope that makes sense. So one thing I want to talk about with the all-seeing eye is the second part, which is very unique. As far as I flipped through, I have yet to find another character and I'm pretty confident to say that he is the only other character, or he's the only character out there right now that can modify the dice used in team tactic cards or crisis cards. So the other part of the all-seeing eye is when an allied character within range 3 rolls dice for crisis cards or team tactic cards, this character may use this superpower. The allied character can reroll up to 2 of its own dice. So far, we have not seen that. What make that cool, really, for the crisis cards, is that there are sometimes those crisis cards where you have to roll dice to see if you find the correct objective, and rolling basically boxcars, rolling the values that you don't want, be able to roll up 2 of those dice is very, very significant, especially when it comes to crisis cards and scoring those points. Remember that this is an objective-based game more than it is a beat-em-up game, and be able to significantly alter one of those, you could, especially if you're going to be putting Heimdall in the in the mix, and you've got those type of crisis events, he's definitely going to be the one you're going to want to squeeze into there. Does that make sense? I hope so. His other one is the forefend is kind of an all right. It's a nice trap style ability. To where whenever an enemy ends their movement within range 2 of them, he gets to a strike. I mean, it's nothing super amazing, but it's definitely you get him into a position where he's supporting people, and he's going to be able to effectively react to other people getting close to him. Still, it's going to be costly, but he's able to take care of himself, especially when we look at his defenses. He's got some average, well-rounded defenses, but that ability right there is pretty amazing. Now, there's a couple key things that you need to think about with Heimdall, at least that I'm going to suggest. Either A, you're going to want to be aggressive with him because you need that power. He is a very power-hungry machine. Not because it's high-costing powers, but he has a lot of abilities that require 2 or 3, and a lot of these powers are not limited to only once per turn. They're limited to once per character, but not once per turn. So you're going to be cranking this power out a lot, especially All Seeing Eye, more than anything else, and the Guardian of the Bifrost. And yeah, you're going to be pulling in 2 power per turn minimum for being an Asgardian, and then as all characters do during the power phase. But that's only popping off All Seeing Eye once per turn. So finding some way to generate more power or to mitigate that the power cost of all this stuff is going to be really significant, or be able to generate a lot of power. So there's a couple ways around this. So first, let's go ahead and pull up. There's a couple suggestions. Really, it comes down to where we could see Heimdall pop up in regards to the different teams out there, where he might find a better role. I guess the best thing. The first one that comes to mind is going to be joining the Avengers alongside Captain America, Steve Rogers, not Sam Wilson, but you're going to want Steve Rogers as the leader. Now, this is the first one that springs to mind. It's not the best, but it's definitely one that springs to mind. Well, it actually might be the best. Anyways, A Day Like Any Other, that's the Avengers affiliation ability from Steve Rogers. So, each turn, you can reduce the power cost of the first superpower used by an allied character by 1 to a minimum of 1. And we go back and we look, just be able to drop the power cost of any of those abilities just by 1 is fairly significant. I didn't put it up here, but the other one I want to talk about is the Brotherhood, Magneto's ability to hand out power like it's candy. Another cool ability, which would be really potentially good for Heimdall, something to consider. Now, that being said, another character we could look at is somehow squeezing him into an A-Force, which we really don't see a lot of A-Force running around out there, but I think he could find a home here, especially when an allied character is damaged by an enemy effect. Another allied character may gain power. A character cannot gain more than 1 power from this leadership ability per turn. That's still another way to gain a little bit of power. That's in that, because you're going to be getting characters damaged per turn. So as long as you are making sure that Heimdall is getting that at least 1 power per turn extra, that it's going to help reduce that power cost or that high power cost of all those abilities. So just something to take into consideration. The last one that pops to mind after a little bit of digging through my stack of cards is Advanced R&D. It's not, I don't know if it's the best choice, but it's the only one that it looked like I would recommend it. A character can spend up to 5 power to play this card. Choose a number of other allied characters equal to the power spent. Each chosen character character gains 1 power. So if you use this either with the team affiliation for the Avengers, Brotherhood of Mutants, I probably wouldn't put it in with the Brotherhood because Magneto can really pass that power out like it's candy. But with the Avengers and A-Force, you can keep Heimdall sufficiently, or at least for a couple key turns, keep him supplied with enough power that he can be of service, if you will, to whatever your team affiliation is. And of course, he's going to be good with the Asgardians, depending on what lineup you're rolling with. But I think you'll probably be running, obviously Thor, a Valkyrie, Heimdall, and then probably, I don't know, man, maybe either Loki or I could see Skurge getting in there, but maybe Enchantress. But I think he's going to find a better place in Avengers, A-Force. Probably Brotherhood of Mutants is probably going to be his best positioning, which in a way sucks that we're not going to see a lot of him being used too much in Asgard. Now that's all based on my opinion. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way it's going to go. You obviously are going to have your own team tactics ideas. And if you've got some better ideas, especially with team tactic cards or a better affiliation abilities, put it in the comments below. I would love to be able to explore Heimdall. I think he's going to be the standout character of this box, as opposed to Skurge, who we're going to talk about. Well, actually, I think we're going to talk about him right now. Let me switch over here. So now Heimdall, or Skurge, on the other hand, is a different monkey. So, at first I was like, yes, Skurge, because he's always kind of been like an underdog character in the comics and even in the MCU. So I was excited to see Skurge, especially when they paint him up in the original costume, even though it looks a little Saturday morning 1980s cartoony looking. But it's still cool to see the dedication that the Marvel Crisis Protocol team put into doing the research and painting up the model. Especially when you look at all the characters that they brought out, they really show their dedication to their research on these characters. And I really appreciate that. But that aside, now Skurge is not the most impressive character I can say. It's great that it's great that we're getting another 3-cost character for the Asgardians, and I think he's going to be a good aggressive meat cleaver, if you will, or damage dealer. He might find more use in the Black Order, but I'm not. We'll explore that at another time. So we've already covered all of his abilities, but we need to kind of revisit some of these here. Actually, we're probably just going to revisit them all. So first of all, his defenses are pretty meh. The 4 defense on physical is good, but the other ones, you're really going to want to watch out for those matchups where you've got a lot of mystic damage dealing characters. So his Battle Axe is a little bit on the high end of his free strike ability, or his builder ability. What sucks is that it's you only get the 1 power. So he's not going to be a big power generating machine, but as we see with his abilities, he does not have a lot of high costing power abilities, which in a way is going to suck because he does need some power for his cool ones. But still, 6 dice on a builder power is really cool. It would have been better if we would have saw the damage dealt equals the power gained, but this is what we're stuck with. And then getting the bleed ability on there is really cool because bleed is going to be a really good bonus ability for this character. Now his spender, the executioner ability, is pretty gosh darn good, especially if you've already got the bleed on there, allowing you to reroll of up to 2 of the 8 dice. That's pretty significant, right? It's very significant, guys. 8 dice is pretty brutal, and the ability to tap bleed on there if they didn't already have bleed, which you really want to make sure you got bleed on that character before you pull off that executioner, because having those 2 extra dice, that's a potential 4 extra successes if you were to get obviously 2 critical successes on those rerolls. So it's something to consider. His Storm's Giant Strength, it's pretty meh. I wouldn't waste too much power or time focusing on that. Yeah, picking up terrain features, size 3 or less, and tossing it. Okay, that can be useful, but I would really try to save that energy for the either the Executioner Spender ability or Right Hand Man, which I really think is that this is going to be his standout power among everything else. This is the ability when an enemy character within range 2 of this character targets another ally character with an attack. He can use this, and he becomes the target of the attack, regardless of range and line of sight. Especially when you combine that with his physical defense. If there's physical attacks, him be able to chew that up is going to be really good. We don't know what necessarily the team tactic cards are going to be providing, but it looks like both of them are going to be really geared towards the Executioner rather than either of them being for Heimdall. One of those being Meet My Executioner, which is something probably going to be related to Enchantress and Skurge being within a certain range of each other. And the other one is, I think it's Armory or Weapons of Asgard. And that one could be significant, mainly for him. But some people like, well, Scourge is all about the weapons, or think about the MCU and his M16s, which really could be where that team tactic card is going to be focused on. But there's talks in the comics and moments in the comics where Heimdall, being the regent of Asgard when Odin goes into the Odin sleep, has access to the armory of Asgard. That's like all that stuff that's down in there. So that could be used for him, but it looks like it's all going to be geared towards Scourge. Now, that aside, Scourge is going to be your meat cleaver. You are going to need to be aggressive with them, just like his ability called aggressive. After an attack targeting his character is resolved, and if you take damage, you can move S. This is really how he's going to get moved around the board. But he is an attacking character. I mean, with the exception of the right hand man, unless you're going to be having him pal around with somebody acting as a bodyguard, you're going to want him to get stuck in. And for a 3 costing or a 3 threat character, I mean, he's mildly good for the attacking. But I don't see Scourge getting a lot of play. I think out of the two in this box, I see Heimdall, and there's other Asgardians that are more likely going to get playtime. Now, we still need to see the team tactic cards, and there are multiple team affiliations out there, guys, and multiple combinations of characters, millions of combinations of characters and team affiliation abilities. So somebody out there might already go, whoa, John, you might want to put him in this team affiliation. Make sure he's alongside these characters because he's going to benefit from these abilities. They're going to benefit from his abilities in this way. If you know that, put it down in the comments below because I love, like I said before, interacting with you guys, but I'm really getting into the tactics part of this, the strategy part, outside of the hobby aspect of what I loved about Marvel Crash Protocol. So please enlighten me, shed your knowledge, shed it like a Sherpa dog, just hair going everywhere. Just let me know what some other alternatives are for him. Now, I think one thing that would be good with him is, let me pull it up here if I can, is going to be possibly, I'm not saying this is the best power to choose for him, but it's definitely a potentially good one, is Doom Prophecy. This team tactic card, it's unaffiliated, it's reactive. It's obviously mainly guided towards Asgardians. At the start of the activation phase, an allied character can spend 3 power, a little costly, but by turn 2, he's got this power. This character cannot roll defense dice against physical attacks, which is going to be fine. No problem there. The big thing is, though, is that the character adds dice to its physical attacks equal to its defense until the beginning of the next activation. So you pop this off before you start messing around with Scourge, and now all of a sudden he's going to be rolling any of his physical attacks, like the Battle Axe, that's a 0 cost. That's going to be 10 dice, guys. 10 dice worth of attacks, or 12 on that Executioner. Mind you, though, you've already spent now 7 power. But who knows, off of that battle axe strike, you might have gained enough power plus anything else that's mitigating or power he's generated to pop off Executioner as well. So you could be very easily dropping a 10 dice attack and then a 12 dice attack, or just double 10 dice attack with a double battle axe. So this could be really good. Let me know what you guys think of that ability, because I don't think Dune Prophecy, and you guys can quote me if I'm wrong here, I don't think Dune Prophecy is on the banned or restricted list. It could be, but I don't think it is. Now, mind you, that means that he's going to be stuck without being able to do any of the defense, roll defense dice against physical attacks. But you know what? Once again, this is kind of a timing moment. There might be a key moment where, yeah, he's going to go out. You're going to lose him, but he's going to take somebody out with him. He's going to take somebody out first, and then somebody's going to take him out, or you need that power generation from him taking damage. There's, like I said, guys, there's a lot of combinations here. I still don't see a place for Skurge. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Skurge is in kind of a weird no man's land of places to find a spot. Really, I don't know, to be honest. Drop him in the Cabal. I mean, if you just need a damage dealer and slash bodyguard, then you could really fit him anywhere, especially if you just need a 3 threat that's going to be relatively aggressive. No pun intended for his innate ability, but that can dish out a lot of solid damage even with his basic builder power. I think you have that option, but there still might be better threat 3 characters out there. We still have yet to really see how this is going to play out. There's a lot of options out there. There's probably other team tactic cards that I'm not taking into account, but these are the standout ones that I really, when I'm flipping through all my cards going, okay, what can we do with Skurge to really boost him up? And of course I start with the Asgardians, and Doom Prophecy stood out the most. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about this analysis. Who do you think Skurge would really shine brightly with? Is he just kind of be just a good fit anywhere, just as a damage dealer? Is he going to do really well in Black Order? And what do you think about Heimdall? Is he going to be better outside of the Asgardians, the Asgard affiliation? Is he going to be better for the Avengers, A-Force, or Brotherhood of Mutants? Man, there's even a possibility he could be good for Black Order, now that I think about it. Because Black Order, they're really, that's an aggressive damage dealing, take out the opponent type of team, and the ability to reroll attack dice and even team tactic cards could be significant for the Black Order as well. I don't know. I'm going to have to research that one. Anyways, my name is John. This is Havoc Maker Studio. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're almost at the end of June. Well, we're halfway through June, but we're almost there. And at the end of the month, we're going to do our drawing, our double giveaway for Q2. And 2 lucky winners are going to win one of 2 different boxes, either Supergiant and Black Swan, or Heimdall and Skurge. So the only way to make sure you guys can do that is if you subscribe to the channel, and make sure that you don't block who can see your subscriptions, because if I can't see you, then I can't add you to the drawing. Does that make sense? Anyways, you guys have a great day, and I'll chat with you guys later. See ya.